The confetti had barely touched the floor. The glitter was still sparkling on the stage in Mexico City. The world was just getting introduced to the new Miss Universe, Fátima Bosch Fernández, celebrating a historic night of beauty, glamour, and triumph. The cameras were flashing, the champagne was popping, and the global audience was mesmerized by the spectacle. But while the world was watching the runway, a legal storm was brewing thousands of miles away that would turn this victory into an absolute nightmare. Just 5 days, less than a single week after the crown was placed on the winner's head, the woman who owns the entire empire was named a fugitive. We are talking about an arrest warrant, a $1 million fraud accusation, and a flight risk label that has shaken the entertainment industry to its core. If you thought the drama was limited to the pageant sash, you have no idea what's happening behind closed doors. To understand the magnitude of this collapse, we have to look at the timeline. It is almost cinematic in how quickly it fell apart. One moment, Anne Jakrajutatip is the face of inclusivity and the proud owner of a legacy brand. The next, she is being hunted by the courts in Thailand. It all unraveled on a Monday morning in Bangkok. This was supposed to be a routine legal proceeding, a moment for the tycoon to face the music regarding a fraud case that has been shadowing her since 2023. The courts were waiting, the prosecutors were ready, the legal teams were assembled, but the chair where Anne was supposed to sit remained empty. She didn't just run late, she allegedly ghosted the entire hearing. The reaction from the Bangkok South District Court was swift and merciless. They didn't just reschedule, they didn't accept an excuse. They issued an immediate warrant for her arrest. But here is where the story takes a much darker turn. The court didn't just say she missed a date. They officially deemed the owner of one of the world's most prestigious brands a flight risk. That is a term usually reserved for people expected to run, to hide, or to vanish to avoid facing justice. Reports state that she had been released on bail previously for the specific charge, and by failing to communicate or show up, she triggered a legal tripwire. The authorities in Thailand have essentially signaled that they believe she might try to escape the consequences, casting a massive shadow over her global business empire. So what exactly is she running from? This isn't a simple misunderstanding or a minor corporate slip-up. The accusations are heavy, and they involve serious money. We are looking at a lawsuit filed by Rawiwat Mashchamadol, a plaintiff who claims he was deceived into buying corporate bonds. This isn't pocket change. The lawsuit alleges that he was defrauded out of over 30 million baht. In US dollars, that is nearly $1 million, specifically around $930,000. The claim suggests that these bonds were sold under false pretenses, dragging Anne and her company, JKN Global Group, into a scandal that involves alleged financial deception. When you have allegations of selling bad bonds to investors, you aren't just dealing with debt, you're dealing with trust. And right now, that trust is evaporating. Naturally, when news of an arrest warrant breaks, the PR machine goes into overdrive. JKN Global Group immediately tried to stop the bleeding. In a frantic statement released just a day before the missed hearing, they denied the rumors that Anne had already fled the country. They insisted she was still there, still present, still fighting. But actions speak louder than press releases. Amidst this chaos, it was revealed that Anne had quietly stepped down from her formal executive positions at JKN. She is still the largest shareholder, still the power behind the throne, but on paper, she has removed herself from the direct line of fire. It begs the question, was this a strategic move to protect the company, or was it the first step in a much longer exit plan? But if you think the chaos is limited to courtrooms and balance sheets, look at what is happening on the pageant stage itself. The rot seems to have spread to the queens themselves. In a shocking move that almost never happens in the world of major pageants, the fourth runner-up, Olivia Yacé, publicly renounced her title. This wasn't a quiet resignation, this was a statement. She walked away from the title of Miss Universe 2025 Africa and Oceania just days after the competition ended. When a queen hands back a title she worked her entire life to get, you know something is wrong. Her resignation letter was cryptic, professional, but devastatingly sharp. She didn't cite scheduling conflicts or personal reasons. She talked about dignity. She wrote that she had to stay true to her values. In her own words, she said respect, dignity, excellence, and equal opportunity, the strongest pillars that guide me. Let's analyze that for a second. When a beauty queen walks away from a global title because she needs to protect her dignity, the implication is clear. The environment she was in threatened that dignity. She explicitly stated that she could no longer have any future affiliation with the Miss Universe committee. That is a bridge burned, and it suggests that the atmosphere inside the organization might be far more toxic than the public realized. And the toxicity doesn't stop there. The newly crowned winner herself, Fátima Bosch Fernández, hasn't had a moment of peace to enjoy her victory. Before the arrest warrant and before the resignations, she was already fighting a public war of words. In a truly bizarre and humiliating turn of events, pageant executive Nawat Iswagrisi was reported to have called the new queen dumb during the competition. Imagine winning the biggest title in the world, arguably the peak of your career, only to have a high-ranking official insult your intelligence publicly. It destroys the illusion of the sisterhood and reveals a cutthroat, nasty underbelly to the business. Fátima, to her credit, didn't take it lying down. In a display of grit that perhaps foreshadowed the toughness she would need for the coming months, she clapped back. She stated clearly, "I'm not afraid to make my voice heard. I have a purpose, I have things to say." It was a moment of empowerment, but it also highlighted just how messy the internal politics of this organization have become. You have executives insulting winners, runner-ups quitting out of dignity, and owners facing arrest warrants for fraud. The brand is bleeding from 1,000 cuts. The financial context here is critical. JKN Global Group didn't just stumble into this fraud case. This comes after months of speculation about the company's liquidity. When the owner of a massive conglomerate is accused of defrauding investors of nearly $1 million, it sends a panic signal to everyone else involved. Sponsors, partners, and broadcasters are all watching this. Miss Universe is a business that runs on image. If the image is fraud and arrest warrants, the sponsorship dollars dry up. And without the money, the pageant can't exist. We are potentially watching the financial strangulation of a legacy brand. Let's circle back to the flight risk accusation. This is the most damaging part of the court's statement. A flight risk implies that the court has reason to believe Anne Jakrajutatip has the means and the motivation to leave Thailand and never come back. If she is detained or if she truly does flee, what happens to the leadership of Miss Universe? The organization is co-owned by Endeavor, a massive Hollywood powerhouse. Will they step in? Will they force a buyout? Or will the scandal be too toxic even for them? The uncertainty is absolute. The fans are noticing too. The internet is ablaze with speculation. Forums and social media comments are dissecting every move. People are asking if the pageant was rigged, if the money is gone, if the crown even means anything anymore. When the integrity of the owner is questioned by a criminal court, the integrity of the competition is automatically questioned by the public. It is a guilt by association scenario that Fátima Bosch Fernández now has to live with. She should be doing a victory lap. Instead, she is reigning over a burning kingdom. Consider the pressure on Fátima right now. She is the face of the brand. Every interview she does, she won't just be asked about world peace or her charity work. She's going to be asked, where is your boss? Is it true the owner is a fugitive? Why did the runner-up quit? She has been thrown into a PR minefield with no armor. Her statement about having a purpose and things to say is going to be tested to the limit. She is no longer just a beauty queen. She is the de facto spokesperson for a crisis-ridden corporation. As we look ahead, the next few weeks are critical. Will Anne appear? Will more contestants speak out and resign? Will the investors who claimed they were defrauded get their money back? This is a developing story that is moving at breakneck speed. The Miss Universe organization has survived scandals before, but never one that struck so close to the very top of the pyramid. This isn't a contestant scandal, this is an ownership scandal. And in the corporate world, the fish rots from the head. For now, the warrant remains active. The police are on alert, the beauty queens are seemingly in revolt, and the world is watching, not to see who is the fairest of them all, but to see who survives the fallout. The glitter has faded, and the cold, hard reality of the law has taken its place. This is no longer just a pageant, it's a crime thriller, and we are all waiting for the final act.